Hola, hola, my dear amigos. Welcome back to Learn Spanish World. My name is Mr. Breaks. I'm a qualified Spanish teacher, and I upload videos every week in order to help you learn Spanish. If this is your first time watching one of my videos, let me extend you a warm invitation to subscribe to my channel. Click the red button that reads subscribe and the little bell next to it in order to get notifications every time I upload a video about Spanish or a Spanish lesson. Fantastico! Today we're going to be talking about a very relevant topic for all of you, especially the ones that really want to master the Spanish language. Spanish is without a doubt a beautiful language, very international, and there are so many benefits that you can gain from learning the language. However, from time to time, you may come across some obstacles, or you may even get a little bit discouraged. Some people may find the language a bit challenging and may give up, which is sad. However, there are a few people who persist no matter what. No matter how difficult an aspect of the language may be, they continue learning and they never give up. Now, those ones are the ones who eventually mastered the Spanish language or any other language. Today's topic is about some of you that may be struggling at the moment learning the Spanish language. I'm going to give you some effective strategies. I've been teaching for many years, and I've been able to witness firsthand some of the most useful strategies that truly help people learn the Spanish language. I've also seen some of the most challenging aspects of the language and how people have been able to turn this around, and instead of making it a difficult experience, they made it an extremely enjoyable experience. So if you want to learn Spanish, if from time to time you may find the language a bit challenging or difficult, this video is for you. Watch it to the very end and you'll have a lot of new tools that you'll be able to equip in your learning endeavors. Fantastico, let's begin. I got a message was sent to me by a viewer of our channel, and I want you to listen to it very carefully. You may be in this situation, you may know someone who is in this position. Just listen carefully to what this girl is saying. It says, "Hello, I'm a 15-year-old Australian struggling with Spanish. I've been in Santiago, Chile for 8 months, and during that time, all I've done is stayed at home. My mom cannot afford an international school. International school is a school where they teach English. Everything is actually conducted in English, but they're very expensive, pretty much like grammar schools, exclusive schools. Anyway, the message continues. So I had to attend a public school which I went to for about 2 weeks. Then I left because I couldn't deal with it. I have 3 months to learn as much as possible so I can start school in March, but I'm struggling. I cannot make friends, and trying to study every day does nothing for me. I've joined many groups hoping to find parents that have kids around my age, any gender, that may know both Spanish and English, so that I can get out of my house, have fun, make friends, and pick up the language. I don't even mind if they only speak English, because that way we can learn and push each other to learn. If you can help or know others, please PM me. Thanks." Okay, we'll call our friend Mary. Just to what can I say? I'm really sorry to hear about the sadness and the difficulties that you are experiencing. It can be very painful unless you move to another place where nobody understands you, where you cannot communicate. It'd be very difficult for us to fully comprehend what the situation might be like. Just think about this. If you ever had to move houses and leave your school or your place of employment and move to a different town or suburb, If that can be hard enough, I know people who have moved from, let's say, New Zealand to Australia, and they find it so hard. But then again, they speak the same, the same language. But then again, the same language is spoken through different countries, but there's similarities. The same as someone going from Mexico to Spain or vice versa. Different countries, but the same language. However, what happens when you leave your country and move to another place where they speak a language that you are not familiar with? For a start, you left all your support system behind, maybe a lot of relatives, close cousins, friends, schoolmates, workmates, friends that you've had many years the pleasure to know for, and then you're in a new area, a new place, different culture, different city, different customs, different language, and you find yourself absolutely alone. This is when loneliness can hit really hard, particularly when you try at first making friends, and people try listening and understand you, but they may not be able to because you haven't acquired the vocabulary, enough vocabulary to be able to communicate. So unfortunately, it's really hard to make meaningful connections with some people, and this can be very, very sad, particularly for someone so young as Mary, who's only 15 years of age and finds herself in this situation. Well, let me tell you that you're not alone. I'm really sorry that you're going through all this, and I really hope that things get better for you, and I'm actually confident that things will improve. But at the moment, yes, I understand it may be very hard to see things improving anytime sooner. For a start, learning another language is not that easy. True, some people may have the gift to be able to assimilate and learn the language very quickly, but most people have to work really hard in order to learn a language. It's one of the most complex things that a person can do in life, and there's several studies and surveys that actually prove this, that it can be very hard. However, the fact that you are only 15 years of age is a big plus. At your age, your brain is pretty much like a sponge. You can absorb any language very quickly, very easily. Even you could reach, in some cases, 15 years old can reach native fluency. But it's very important that you make an effort. I know it's not easy, but what do I mean by saying to make an effort? I'm pretty sure that you're already making an effort. But what I mean is, do not isolate yourself. In your letter, you mentioned that you went to school for 2 weeks and then you couldn't deal with it anymore. Look, I understand you really well. I arrived in a country where English is the main language, and my language was always Spanish. And I arrived here when I was a teenager, and it wasn't easy. But it's imperative that you do not give up, because by exposing yourself to the language, even though it be very difficult at first, you will actually learn the language eventually if you do not give up, if you do not isolate yourself. Because if you are just at home between your four walls, you're not going to be exposed to the language enough. You're pretty much going to make the suffering last longer. Sometimes, as they say, no pain, no gain. Sometimes you have to go to the doctor and get that injection that may hurt a little bit, but it will prevent, the sickness. Or let's say you got tonsillitis and you need antibiotics. If you stay home and you don't take any medication, you don't go to the doctor, it may get worse and you're going to suffer longer. It can get really bad. But if you go to the doctor and you get the injection and you get the penicillin, any antibiotics, eventually, okay, it's gonna hurt a little bit, ouch, but eventually it'll get better, and you'll get well, and you get strong, and you'll be back on your feet. So in the same manner, I would strongly suggest you to start attending school. It won't be easy, but it won't be impossible either. I know a lot of people. I have a friend who's from the Philippines, and when he arrived in Australia, he couldn't speak any English, and he felt left out from every activity the young kids did, and so on. But he kept attending school. He kept pushing, and eventually he learned the language, and I gotta say, he speaks English way better than me. You can't tell the difference between him and a native speaker. But what would have happened if this guy stayed home and decided just to say, you know what, this is too hard, I'm not gonna do anything about it? He probably never learned English. And there are millions and millions of immigrants in the United States, Great Britain, Australia, New Zealand, Canada, you name it. They've come, a wide range of backgrounds and cultures. I got friends who are Chinese and they speak English really well. I got friends who are from Japan, from Europe, from Africa, and they're very fluent. They managed to learn the language. So if they were able to learn the language, what prevents you from learning the language? Muy bien, my amigos. So that was parte número uno. Part number one of my video discussing tips and strategies to overcome, issues and problems learning Spanish. We read the letter of one of my subscribers where she describes how she's facing and experiencing difficulties adjusting to Spanish in Chile. Now, we're just about to move to parte número dos, part number two, where I provide some tips and strategies in order to be able to overcome these obstacles that can discourage us sometimes. So if you want to find out exactly what these strategies and tips are, make sure you watch the next video, parte número dos. So it's in the description, I got the link there, and you also find the link here. I actually added it to the video links. So I'll see you in parte número dos, part number two. Nos vemos. Hasta luego.